Happy Monday. Hopefully you're having a great freaking day today. Really excited to have you here for this training. Okay, this is going to be really, really cool. I'm going to give you a couple, maybe a minute or so. Get the notification, get in here, because sometimes Facebook doesn't send it right away. Hopefully you're having a good day. If you're watching this live, write hashtag live in the comments. And if you're watching it on replay, make sure you write replay as well. All right, I see some people trickling in. Sweet. Awesome. And so we're going to get into this. I want to make this short, quick, but really, really actionable so that you can take this information and use it, because there's a massive fear that I have for the people that are in this group and my clients is that we kind of succumb to our genetics, DNA, culture, storyline from now until the end of the year. Really, really scary stuff. And so I want to make sure that we can not only look at it for what it is just an old record that plays in our head, but also look and see, oh, cool, we've used to believe things about us before, and now we don't. And with that, we get to change. We get the opportunity to change, which is really, really cool, so that we can grow into the person we tend to become, because we are just a cultivation of our thoughts, beliefs, actions, and routines. That is it. And so if we can look at those things, can we change our thoughts? Yes. Can we change our beliefs? Yes. Can we change our routines? Yes. Can we change our actions? Yes. So that means we have total control of where our destiny lies. Not a matter of time-wise, like time might be different, okay? But in our health, man, we have so much control over it. It's such an amazing thing. And so with that being said, let us dive in. So this training is beyond navigating holidays, temptation, and people, and creating an environment for success long-term during this time of the year. Let's see. But warning, okay? This is going to be you stepping outside your comfort zone. This is going to be you having questions coming your way from people. And so I need you to understand that by you acting different, people are going to think different. How this works, what this looks like. It is like herd mentality. It is you have a group of people and you do something different than that group, whatever the group is, whether it be family, whether it be friends. Let me get up here so I can make myself look bigger. Whether it be friends, whether it be colleagues, whether it be spouses, kids, whatever. They see you as one thing, as one way. Think of it like they see you as a good example. I'll use me. That I used to not track my food. I used to eat whatever. When it was time to go out to eat, I would say, "Cool, I'll eat whatever." Now, and that was like with my wife, with my in-laws, and things like that. Now that I really pay attention to my food and I track my food and I know what I'm eating and how much of it I'm eating, when it's time to go to my in-laws for dinner, they tell us ahead of time. They tell us not like a minute before. They tell us earlier in the day, because I would ask them, "Hey, Lisa, what is it that you guys are having tonight?" And they'll say, "Oh, we're having, let's say, manicotti or something like that." Well, if I'm eating what's called phase 2 foods, and phase 2 foods are foods that don't cause intolerances to your body, well, everything in manicotti is not on that food list. And so for me, I'm just not going to partake in that. What I'm going to do instead is I will bring my own food. And so I say, "Cool, that's great." And then I just show up with my food and I'd eat it. And my wife would do the same thing at certain times. And sometimes too, when it's like, "Hey, I'm in weight loss mode, I got to eat these things," I'm not going to have her cook something out of the way for me. No, I'm there to hang out. I'm there to spend time. And so they used to see Chris as eating whatever and eating seconds and things. And then when I took care of my health, it's like, "Oh, that's not what you do anymore. You do this now." And then they were able to then respect it and follow through with it. Right? Now, luckily my mother-in-law is great, but sometimes people aren't. And so there's going to be a little bit of a clash. And the clash is not a you thing. I need you to recognize it's not a you thing. It's somebody sees you this way. You are changing. And so how they view you is different, and different than what is actually happening. And potentially the changes that you're making and that you're yielding results from is really challenging to them and their storyline and what they think is true how they view how the world works. And so it might be hitting a little bit of insecurity on somebody's end. And they probably are doing, if it does get to a certain way, they're not doing it intentionally. They're doing it out of a survival mechanism because you are now an other. You are outside of the group. And so with that, all of that being said, I'm not wanting to scare you with this, but I want to just give you an idea. I wanted to prepare you ahead of time so that when these things do happen, because they will, that you are not blindsided by it. I'm going to give you some tactical ways of doing that too that I haven't shared before. So be ready for that as we go through this. Okay. So with that being said, clear up my throat. First thing we're going to talk about is the mental model, the strategy behind that. One, there's 4 steps to it: boundaries, communicating, reinforcing the boundaries, and confrontation. Notice confrontation is at the 4th step, not the first one. Okay, because a boundary is what you set. Communicating the boundary is what you then do for other people. Reinforcing the boundary is you reminding people of the boundary. And then if somebody steps on the boundary, that's when you confront the problem. Now, confrontation here might be like, I'm non-confrontational. A lot of people I work with are not confrontational. They're not. They're like, I'll just kind of go with the flow. And that's a great thing. However, if your goals are separate from other people, like in my program, our goal is to keep weight off long-term forever. That is different from 97% of people, of what 97% of people will ever do, ever in the entire world. And so if you want to follow along what everyone else is doing, you're going to follow along with the 97% and never be a part of the 3, right? And so being that we want to be a part of the 3, we got to do stuff different, okay? Confrontation here is not negative confrontation. It is just reinforcing the boundary. Again, just a little bit more stringently and sternly. Again, most people say they're good with confrontation. They're really not. Not really true, okay? Most people don't avoid confrontation, including myself. I've had times where, like, I remember distinctly I was getting a massage one time, and the girl who was getting a massage had really long nails, and she was slamming her nails into my back. And I was like, afterwards, like, man, that hurt. But I thought it was like, oh, she's just pushing hard. Maybe it's just me being a punk. And I go to my wife, I'm like, hey, is there a bunch of scratch marks on my back? And it was all over the place. And she's like, why did you tell her? I'm like, I don't know, I just didn't want to do it. I remember before too, this is years ago now, probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. I was at the gas station getting, I think it was probably an energy drink or something there. And then some lady was like, hey, can you buy me one? I'm like, why? I mean, I guess so. She's like, I never tried it before. And I was just thrown off by it because I didn't have a mental practice. I didn't have a mental model. And I was just like, okay. I just went with it, right? Instead of being like, no, why the hell would I do that? I don't even know you. Why would I do that? So first, let's go over some vocabulary. Boundary. What is a boundary? For you, I want you to write down in the comments below what you think a boundary is. How would you define a boundary? While you do that, let me get a sip of water. What is a boundary? Got a super sweet water, half gallon, I think it is. All right. Boundary. A boundary is a distinct line that of tolerating, not tolerating. That's a boundary. It's kind of like if you go to the DMZ. The DMZ is a area of land, I think it's a mile long, between North Korea and South Korea. It's a boundary. If people from North Korea try to get into that boundary, people from South Korea, if people military were, it would cause a war, right? If South Koreans go across that way, then it causes North Koreans to probably shoot at them, right? That's a boundary. And we want to treat a boundary like that, like the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. And that's where things just don't cross it, right? You can get up to the line, but you don't cross it, right? Like, I'm all for playing and like play fighting with my kids. I'm just not for getting smacked in the face on purpose. It's just not a thing for me. You can punch, you can punch me, we can wrestle, but as soon as you start hitting in the face, I just call it a day. I just say that's not this. We don't play that way, right? I'm cool too for having absolute disagreements on plenty of things: religion, politics, business, ideas, all the things. I'm absolutely cool with that. Until it starts getting to where you're name calling, then I just say, cool, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just not going to do it. Okay. So that's a boundary. Okay. And so what we want to think of our boundaries too, if you want to think of it this way, is like a train on a track. Okay. The train can go on the track and it can run smoothly. As long as it's on the track, we're good. But a boundary, if it's stepped off, it's like the train is derailed. Now it doesn't work anymore. And if we could stay, have other people and ourselves respect our boundaries, we're good to go. We're absolutely fine. We can both be on the train at the same time. But if one of us pushes over, then we're having problems. And I don't like problems. I like to have nice, great lives. Even people that I love, that are in my family, we have disagreements. We set boundaries. We just know we don't cross those things. Okay? Even if I support and love you and all these things, we can have different views and we get different ways of doing things and different beliefs and all these sorts of things. But we have these boundaries to say, hey, cool, I'm going to love and support you, but I'm also just not going to tolerate this, and you're not going to tolerate it from me. Love that. I think it's great. We have a way to communicate and a way that we can help each other out. And this could be on religion, politics, sports, nutrition, Disney hate, family feuds, whatever it might be. Okay? Boundaries. And it's good for you to establish a boundary before you have to make one in the moment, because it could be out of anger, could be out of stress, could be out of strain, all these things. And boundaries are always beneficial to both people or to you and others. We want these sorts of things. As an example, okay, as a big example, I am a Second Amendment loving person. I love it. I love it. I think it's a great thing. I think everybody in the whole country should have a firearm. I really do. I really believe that, especially those that are trained so they can protect themselves. I think it's a great thing. I think that people know that other people potentially have that. They're way safer because it's a nice equalizer, right? Somebody can be really, really strong and it don't matter, right? It doesn't matter from somebody who's trained. But I have a boundary. No one knows if or when I have it or where that it is. Nobody has a clue, right? I don't open carry with it on my hip. I don't walk around showing like, look at me, I've got a fight. Like, I don't do that. I just don't. I just have it on me. And I would pray to everything that I never have to use it. But I also don't want to be without it if I need it, you know? So I walk that fine line. So with that, that's a boundary that I set for myself. How does the boundary help me? Well, if I ever need to use it, it's available. If it's available, right? If I have one, which I don't know if I do or not. But if I didn't have it, if I let everybody else know, it might not be beneficial for them. Maybe people are terrified of firearms. Maybe people would judge me. Maybe there is a situation that might require it. If I have a giant target of, hey, this person potentially could eliminate a threat, and I'm the person who's wanting to be the threat, I would go with that person first because they have a chance to defend themselves where nobody else looks like they have one, right? See what I'm saying? It's a boundary. Helps me, helps them, helps everybody, right? So you want to set the boundary for you because you need to train people how to act around you or they will act in their own self-interest. Always. Everybody acts in their own self-interest. Always. You might be like, this person's always giving. Yeah, but they're doing it for themselves, right? People do it for themselves. People are willing to give up so many things to uphold this identity of I'm a giver, that they're still doing it for themselves. It's a self-interest thing still. People create chaos so they can help people. They have friends, and you know this, hopefully this isn't you, but I know people that I've worked with in the past that I know that would rather help other people than help themselves so they can be told they're a good helper. Not because their entire health and their lifestyle and their livelihood is being completely destroyed, but because they want to be a helper. See what I'm saying? And so we need to set a boundary, okay? So for me, a boundary that I have around food is that I track my food, right? I track my food. If I don't track my food, okay, I like, especially when I'm losing weight, I'm tracking my food. If I'm just being health conscious or I'm not really having a goal, I'm just maintaining, then I have different parameters of how I play. But if I'm losing weight, I track my food every time. How often? All the time. I don't care what it is. If it goes in my mouth, it's in my tracker first. Boundary. Okay? Next, why do we have the boundary and how am I going to implore it? So let's say boundary, maybe, let's use it for holidays. A boundary or a rule, sort of the same thing, is if I'm like at the first meal, the first plate I'm going to get at a place is going to be a bunch of salad. I'm going to eat as much salad as I can possibly eat, salad and protein. That's going to be my first sort of go around for food. I'm not going to get the sweets or anything first. I'm going to eat those things first. Now, why is that important to do? Well, if I can feed most of my stomach full of protein and vegetables, I can't eat a bunch of the cake and cookies and treats and things, right? Because my stomach's going to be full, a lot full of protein and vegetables first. Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. How am I going to do that? Well, first plate I'm going to have is that. Sweet. Now, here's the thing. Other people might be like, you've always not done this. You would always get this much protein, and then you get my famous stuffing, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And so, to secure your boundary, you need, and we'll go over it in a second, you need a way, like a sort of maybe pre-planned agenda or response to how to secure your boundary. So in this example, I was saying I'm going to have protein vegetables first. I get my protein vegetables, get that, go to sit down, and we got the aunt that's always a jerk, that's always constantly complaining about her weight, but always does nothing about it, right? She's going to go, what are you doing? So I'm eating protein and vegetables first, so I can fill my stomach up with other things so I don't overeat on these things. Why would you do that? And they might come at you and be like, because I viewed you as doing something else. I viewed you as a person that would do this things because every single Thanksgiving prior to this, you were doing this. And so this is where you secure the boundary. You give them the response and you do it in a way that leaves no room for them to give you any other response but okay. And you're not doing it rudely. You're not being a turd about it, but you're doing it in a way that says, this is what I'm doing, and I'm not asking your opinion on it. And I'm glad you respect it. You want to frame it in that. So it would be something like, I'm eating protein and vegetables first. So I'm trying to be health conscious about what I'm consuming. And I know that maybe this is something you haven't tried before in your weight loss escapades, but this is what I'm doing, and it seems to be working really well. What are they going to say? It seems to be working well. No, it's not. Okay, you've seen me? They would need so much more information to know if it's not working or not. It's just silly goose. So you set yourself up for that. You want to set something in stone where you go, this is how things are going now, and this is how I operate. Right? It's also like the person that maybe you've seen that they always talk about high school, and I'm 13 years out of high school now. Right? There's some people like high school is the best. I don't remember hardly anything in high school except my wife and some volleyball. Everything else, and some teachers that I really like. Otherwise, I don't remember much about high school. It was fun, but it's not that great, right? The great stuff, the great stuff starting with the kids and the business and the life and the wife and all these things. But the great stuff is still coming, man. But some people are stuck there and they view you as, Chris, you were the guy that was partying all the time, man. Let's go get some drinks. Let's go do whatever. And it's it's not me though. It's not what I do, right? So they see you as one way, and you need to reinforce and let them know this is not how I am anymore. And to reinforce it, you just spit back what I said. Hey, you're just going to go and say, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how things go. And this is what I'm doing. Simple as that. And then if they happen to be a turd, there's other things that you can do, and we'll go over how to solve those problems. I want to tell you something. This is I don't think I have family in here. If I do, screw it, whatever. So I have this uncle that for whatever reason always is rude to my brother. I don't know why. I'm not really sure why. I mean, I have some suspicions. I'm not going to get into that here. I have some suspicions as to why, but it's weird. It's really weird. But he's always being rude to him. He always thinks that for whatever reasons, he's not doing well. Our brother's well. He's doing good. He's losing some weight. Me and him are doing a Spartan race next month. Like, things are great for him. Like, he's doing really, really good for himself. He's got a dog. He's got a car. He has hardly any debt. He's doing fabulous. I go to an event and I see him there, and my brother and wife are there too, and they're off somewhere. I forget what they're doing. I think they're going to get food or something. I see him. I was like, "Hey, T, how's it going?" And we just start talking a little bit. He's like, "Hey, what's up? What's up with your lazy, good for something effective, lazy and good for nothing brother? What's he up to? Is he still getting in trouble?" Tony's never gotten in trouble. He got into a car accident, someone else's fault. Like, that's the worst trouble he's got. He got suspended from school in 2nd grade for playing hide and seek. That's Tony, right? So he hasn't really done anything that's like extraordinarily trouble worthy in the least. And so I go, I don't know what you're talking about. Tony's doing great. Like, he's a manager of this thing. He runs this crew. He might be getting promoted to moving out of the state. He has a dog. He's doing well. He does well for himself. He's like, "Oh, that's really surprising," right? So, like, in that exchange, he views I have a boundary of people just don't mess, like, they don't talk smack about my brother like that, right? If it's common stuff like he's a shit poster, he's a little bit like particular on some things. It gets really anxious real fast. Okay, I get that. Sometimes he'd be like that, right? But like being a no good for nothing, that's not Tony. What are you talking about? So I get boundaries. You just don't say that stuff, right? If it's something true, then I'll align with you. But it's not true. He's not any of those things. He's a really great person, really, really great person. So if you know any single ladies, hit him, send him his way. Okay, we need to get him hooked up. I'm just playing. He's a really good dude. So boundary, you just don't say that. And so when somebody comes and crosses that boundary, that line, I just say, "Hey, that's actually not true. This is what's true." And he's doing great. And then T, not Tony, T, hits me with, "That's really interesting. I would have not," it was something along the lines of like, "I would not have pictured that." And I was like, and then I go, "Okay, cool." So I gave it the boundary. The boundary was, "That's actually not true," holding the line. He wanted to cross the boundary again because he views Tony as something else. Weird. So he stepped the boundary again after I enforced it. So that's actually not true. Stepped it again. And then I said, "I don't know why you keep thinking that. What makes you think that? He's doing really well. Why do you keep pulling that up?" And then Tony walks up, and my wife, and then it was like it kind of pushed off. But it's reinforcing the boundary, reinforcing that line. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's my uncle, right? And he has his job that's like pretty important to the place that I live in. It's a pretty important job. And so even on top of that, it's like, okay, this could get weird. This is going to get awkward, right? And also family, like it's weird dynamic in my world. I'm not going to get into it, but like it's interesting. It's really weird. I'm like, he keeps pulling that up. And so you have to pull that line. It's just not something that I tolerate. I just don't tolerate that stuff. And so for you, what can we take from this? One, not gonna let somebody disrespect my brother, right? Not gonna do it. Why do we want to do this? Why is it also good for him and for me to have a boundary? Because oftentimes these boundary things seem really selfish. If it was like, I'm gonna eat this salad thing for me all the time, then yeah, it's going to be selfish if it's only for you, right? Now, being selfish is still good. It's good to be selfish sometimes. Okay, so that's great. But it's easier when it's not selfish, it's selfless, right? I could have not had the boundary and just let him continue to talk shit. But then I get angry, and then I turn into a jerk. Not good. Not good for him, not good for me. And so I just know if somebody crosses the line, I say, hey, that's just not cool. It's not what we do. Same thing with food. If somebody were saying, go back to the scenario we were at before, okay, somebody says something about the food. Why is it important that we have a boundary around this food, maybe this plate thing, or any other boundary that we have, whether it be church, religion, politics, Disney, whatever? Why is it so important for us? Well, it's because something we value, something we want, desire, something that's going to get us to our goal, value. Why is it important for somebody else? Well, so they don't get the wrath of God for them talking smack about Disney. I mean, current state of Disney, I understand why you'd be upset. But Disney of old, I don't understand why you'd be upset at all. Disney of old is awesome. So that's important, number one. Disrespect. I just don't align with that, and I'll get angry. These sort of things. Why is it important for them? Why is it important that we track our food? For other people. So we don't have to bring frustration into the house. So we don't have to feel regret and shame. So our kids can see us as powerful people, not as weak and guilt-ridden people. So they can see what a strong woman and man in their home looks like. So they don't follow in our footsteps. That's why boundaries are important. And you just don't cross the line. And so how to reinforce the behavior? Articulate that he's wrong. Prove him that he's wrong. You're wrong. All the things you said are wrong. All of them. And I'm not doing it from an angry place. I'm not angry with him. He just views Tony as a certain way, and I know that's not the case. And so I just corrected him. You're wrong, actually. None of what you think is correct. And then if he brings it up again, then we go into why. Why do you keep bringing that up? That's a weird thing to think. And then you confront the problem. You don't confront them. That's fine. You want to confront the problem because the problem is not the person, it's the thinking. And so if somebody, let's put you back in that same situation where your crazy aunt is talking smack about you eating the salad and chicken or some meat and vegetables first before you go get your treats and things. And she brings it up again. She's like, oh, you're trying to lose weight? Oh, like I've tried everything and nothing works. Like right now it's almost pointless to try to lose weight, right? Which is what some people say. And you go, actually, it's wrong. This is how you can eat. You can do it and still lose weight. You can get both things if you want. It's not really true. Actually, like it is true. It's actually how it works. Is if you just eat less calories, what you burn, you're losing fat. That's how that works. Oh, that can't be true. And the more they do it, you just dial up the level of confrontation and do it from a place of not of hate, but of love for you, and respect for them. Because the more as somebody who's in the health and fitness industry, do you know how many people that I tell that to? They're like, oh, I tried this diet, I'm doing this thing, and this is so great. And like I'll say what I do, and like, why would you do it that way? Like there's always some spin doctor sort of like, this is so wrong. I'm like, well, the results speak for themselves. And they have plenty of people losing hundreds of pounds of weight. Like it's just like it's just normal here to lose tons of weight. So I know that I'm coming from a place of right. And so if somebody continues to just battle, I just increase the temperature. I just go, like if my uncle were to continue to do this over and over and over again, I'd be like, hey, can you just stop talking about my brother then? You have nothing good to say. Stop it. It's a weird obsession you have with Tony being not great. That's weird. Okay, it seems like you care a whole lot about something that somebody you haven't seen forever. It's an odd thing. Let's just drop it. Right? You eventually turn the knob enough to where it's like no more, or I'm done with you too. Now, just so you know, it never gets to that point. The people that want to be jerks like this are coming from a place of scared. And so once you just hold your line maybe one time, they're like, oh, this person is a real hard line there. I'm just not going to touch it, right? Like I have people I talk to that are alcoholics that are in my family. And as soon as they start slurring their words or as soon as they start repeating themselves, I just hop off the phone. So they know. I'm like, I'm not going to talk to you. You keep saying the same thing over and over again. So you can call me if you want after you're done being drunk. I would love to talk to you. But until then, nah, not going to do it. Right? Out of place with me, love for me, because it's frustrating and annoying and hurtful. And for you too, because I'm just going to bring the pain and I'm going to get really upset with you. So let's just stop it now before I get that way. Sound good? And they're like, no, I want to talk to you. Well, no, sorry, not going to work. Okay, so that is the game. So here's how you go through this mental model of getting this set up for you so that you can follow this process for yourself. You can close your eyes, do this. You can watch this again. This is at 30-minute mark. So if you need to go here again and listen to it, do it. But you're going to close your eyes and you're going to start by thinking of you at the party. Okay. And if you're in a place where you can sit and do this with your eyes closed, please do. Please do. This will be extremely helpful for you. So you can see it. So you can do this in your head. And I'm going to give you some time to kind of give some responses as we go about this. Okay. So, darn it. Sorry, I was trying to do, this is what I want. Okay. You're at a party. And you see, you can start envisioning maybe some problems. Maybe it's your aunt. Maybe it's maybe it's not anybody. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. And you're like, I'm going to be tempted. There's all these things around me that I like, that I really, really enjoy, that I want to eat. Because it's good. Grandma's stuffing is great. It's pumpkin pie. Oh, delicious. All these things. Temptation all over. Like, how am I going to deal with temptation? How am I going to deal with it? Because up until this point, I have not dealt with temptation very well. But I need to. I need to deal with temptation because I can't keep having these same problems over and over and over again. And so that maybe it's somebody else. I don't know. Whatever problem you might foresee going into a situation this holiday season, I want you to think about that. I'll give you a couple seconds to think about that. All right, now that we got our situation, okay, what I want you to do, well, that is the other thing too, what possible people are you going to meet that are going to cause you some trouble, okay? Now, I want you to play out the scenario that you're worried about, whether it be somebody else, whether it be you, something. I want you to play that scenario out in your head. So you're going, maybe let's use this. I'm gonna use a scenario, then I'll stop talking so you can play yours out. Let's say I got an aunt who is going to talk to me about. Here's a good one, because I know some people that have this problem, good bad problem. I have an aunt that's going to talk to me about me being too skinny. And so I'm at this party that's always coincidentally this is always the aunt that says I need to lose weight too, right? So let's say it's that. And this isn't real, I'm just making it up, okay? So I'm going to the party, I got my food plate, get my food full of, my plate full of food, I got my salad, I got my chicken, I've got a little bit of stuffing, I got some mashed potatoes, some turkey, whatever, I got all that on my plate. I'm about to sit down next to Aunt Elizabeth, okay? My Aunt Elizabeth, I do have an Aunt Elizabeth, she's great, but Aunt Elizabeth, I sit down, and that's when confrontation's about to play out, right there. So as soon as that part where confrontation's got to play out, you need to pause it. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to play this out right before confrontation starts. That confrontation for you could also be temptation. That's a confrontation. Think of confrontation as anything that is going to throw you off of where your plan is. Any sort of confrontation. All right. Now, as soon as confrontation hits, I want you to pause. I want you to zoom out. Okay? Zoom out to where you're about 10 feet away from that same scenario. But I want you to rewind it too, to where you're going back. So I got my plate of food. I got my, I got my salad. I got my turkey. I got my stuffing. I've got my mashed potatoes, whatever, green bean casserole. And from a different vantage point, 10 feet away, I see myself walking to the table. I see myself walking right to Aunt Elizabeth. And I can see and hear what I'm going through. But I feel nothing. I feel no, oh crap, this Aunt Elizabeth, she's going to say something. She's going to be a jerk. I'm worried about it. I could feel my stress levels start going up. No. We want to stop before we get there. We're far enough away where we can't see that. We just see you walking. We can see you and hear you. That's it. We don't get inside your head at all. Can't see any of that. So we see you walking up. You see Aunt Elizabeth going, "Hey, Chris. Oh my gosh, you look." And that's when you, guess what? Zoom out again. So I want you to play that scenario in your head exactly the same way as you did before, but just before you hit the confrontation, just before it gets to where you're like, ah, crap, this is the moment where I got to start talking to somebody. And again, you don't feel anything here. You're too far away to feel anything. You can just see and hear. You don't know the thoughts. You don't know anything. All right. From there, before we hit the confrontation, we're zooming up. Now we're above you. And now here, you're an omnipotent being. You can see you. You can see the person or the temptation you have, whatever it is. And you can hear, you can feel, you can see what they're thinking. You can see all the things. And you can see specifically from the other person's point of view. Now now when we go through this, you're not looking at this from this is like somebody being a complete jerk. You want to look at why is this process happening? What potential reasons is this process happening for the other person or the temptation? So I'm going to run through both scenarios, okay, for you, for either somebody else or yourself. So say it's Aunt Elizabeth. I'm getting my thing. I'm above them. And Aunt Elizabeth hasn't seen me all day. And she sees me for the first time, and she's like, oh my gosh, Chris has lost like 30 pounds. Like, he's not pulling his shirt out of his stomach anymore. You can see his neck's thin, his face is thin. Wow, I've never been able to lose 30 pounds before. I saw him like 4 months ago, and he's already on 30 pounds. Like, wow. He must have cheated. He must have done some shortcuts. He must have had some crazy strict diet to do. That's why. Oh, he's a man too. That's why he's lost more weight. That's exactly why he's lost more weight. You can see from that vantage point, you're like, man, Aunt Elizabeth, she sounds like she's pretty hurt. Like she's pretty upset. Not at me, but for what I've been able to accomplish that she couldn't. That she wasn't able to. Man, that'd be really painful for her. Dang. And then you go to you, and you're like, oh, crap. Aunt Elizabeth's always talking about my weight. And why is she talking about your weight? Well, from this vantage point, the potential answer could be, she's battled with weight her whole life. And so she's beating herself up for it. And she so badly wants it for her. She wants it for other people too, but she knows the damage. She knows how painful it is. But also when somebody else succeeds at something she hasn't been able to, it's a glaring, bright light on her inability to follow through, her inadequacy, her lack of willpower, things that are in her control that feel like they're out of her control. And it's painful to see that sometimes. It really hurts. And so from this vantage point, you can see, I know exactly why Elizabeth would say the things she does say. Wow. And so when Elizabeth says something about being about my weight, and I come at her with heat, with some, well, I worked out harder than you, stupid. If you would only do this, you know it's not going to work because this is a hurt person. This is somebody who's damaged. All right, same with you too, where you zoom out from you and it's just you and the temptation that you're facing. You go, okay, I see the food's there. What thoughts am I having in this? Well, this is the only time I'm ever going to get this food. I'm in weight loss and I'm not able to eat any of this stuff to lose weight. I couldn't do any of it. If we zoom out and not had feelings about it, we just saw. Just listen. How much do you know that's true? How much do you know with 100% certainty you can't have some of this food and still not lose weight? How much do you know that to be true? Do you know for sure? Gun to your head, know for sure. Man, the answer might be no. Might be no. Snap. And who's to say you can't ask for a recipe and make it yourself? Who's to say that you can't learn how to eat the food you enjoy in a way that makes sense? Oh, how does that feel? That feels a lot better. Okay, and who's to say you can't have some? You can have some, but you can't have it all. Oh man, now we're actually moving. Now we can see from this place for yourself exactly why you feel these things. And again, it tastes great. But we also have goals of not having the severe pains that you started the program with in the first place. Which one's more important? The moment today or your long-term success? Because if you let this thing pass today, not that it's always a slippery slope, but I can tell you it's a slippery slope. There's so many people I've talked to that a vacation has deterred them months of time because they let one thing, one moment, take that minute. And that minute takes the next hour. And that hour takes the next day. And that day takes the next week. And that week takes the next month. And that month takes the next year. How many people do you know that do this? Write down in the comments. Like, say if you know somebody, write I know somebody who does that. I know somebody who's done that. I know hundreds of people that have done that, not just one. So I'm sure you know at least one. So you're going to write I, not for yourself, but if it is yourself, then you know that a moment has taken months to get rid of because not because it was too painful, but because we allowed it to be too painful. That we let it run its course and let it spiral us out of control. Correct? Correct, right? And so from this new vantage point, we have different areas, a different way of being able to handle this problem. And so you go, okay, now that I'm in this space, what would an appropriate response be to get me what I want with this new information? What would be a response? What would be something that I could say that would get me what I want and get them what they want, but me first? Me most important. So in this place with Elizabeth, is it best to start throwing heat at her right away? No, it's not. That's not. What would be a really great response would be if she says something about, oh, you look too skinny, Chris. I would say, hey, Anna Elizabeth, I actually feel really, really great. I lost 30 pounds in the last 4 months. Isn't that awesome? What do they say? Are they going to try to battle how you feel? Can they feel the way you feel? Probably not. Probably not. And if you legitimately are too skinny, which is a way to find that out with like body fat percentage and things, I doubt it. It's her perception. And then you go, okay, what if she says something else? Well, you're in a nice safe space here. You can test some things out in your mind. You can go, oh, Anna Elizabeth, oh, that's 30 pounds before. You must have done some really, really crazy strict diet. Oh, actually, I didn't at all. I was eating foods I enjoy in a way that makes sense. If you want to find out how I did it, I'd love to connect you with the person who taught me. I'd love to be able to have them help you. What do you say to that? Like each of these things, has it come from heat? No. Has it been from a place of love, of not wanting to be rude to them, but also more importantly, putting you in a place of power and position of no question? No one can adjust your reality. No one can go, oh, that's not true. Okay. Well, I started at 200. I'm at 170. That's 30 pounds down. That happened. I was 4 months ago to today. And they're like, wow, that's crazy. I don't know. It's pretty nuts. You must have been strict. Actually, no. Like, I have food pictures. I got a journal. I actually had pizza for a while. Like, it's pretty cool. And I'm eating normal foods that I like in combinations that make sense. and adjusting the lifestyle so I can keep the weight off long term. It's actually really awesome. What do they say? Like, you could probably make up something else for it, but you don't have to. And this is a playground. This is in your mind. You can do whatever. Maybe the first thing you do is like, hey, screw you, Elizabeth. You don't know shit about what I'm doing. Maybe, but then you go, whew, okay, I'm getting in my field too much. Is it getting what I want? Yes. But is it getting the situation what it needs to be? Probably not. How can it come from a different place? And you just keep playing with this, right? Now let's move on to you. Maybe your temptation's yourself. Maybe you don't know when to stop. You go, okay, what I'm going to do is I got these things. I got pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie. I actually love lemon pie way better. But I love pumpkin pie too. And I love eggnog. I love it. So good. So, okay, I'm going to have a piece of lemon pie. I'm going to have one piece. And I'm going to ask the person who made it for the recipe. And so when I'm not in fat loss mode anymore, I'm going to make it. And I'm going to eat more of it. But for now, not appropriate. And I'll have it more. Like, I know I'll have it more. There's plenty of time. I can make it every single month if I need to. And I can have one piece. One piece, like a week. And I'll be fine. That gives me what I want. It's not every day, yes. But also, I want this goal too. And I can't have both. I can't eat an entire pie, which I'd love to do, and get me to my goal. You can only have one of those things. Which one would I want? I want the one that gets me both the things that I want, which is having some, not all of it, but eating in a way that makes sense. I'll take that answer. That's the one I want. See that? See how we're in a nice place? And we have these things already made up. Oftentimes, though, we go into these situations that are tough with our hands tied behind our back and trying to dodge punches. That is life. Good luck. Not a good strategy, I would think. Really, really tough strategy to actually employ because it's probably likely not going to work. Now, as far as nutrition, first off, is this helpful? Has this been helpful so far? Right? If it's been helpful, give me a bunch of hearts down below so that way I know I'm helping you guys out. So I want to make sure this is good info for you because it's awesome stuff. Okay? And this is stuff I was planning on only sharing with my clients, but I want to share with you guys too so that you guys can get some really good info. Okay? Now, nutrition strategy. Recognize that from now until the end of the year, there are 141 meal opportunities, 3 meals per day times 47 days. Okay, 141. Now, the holidays are 4 days. Christmas Eve, or Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's. 4 meals. And for each party or maybe meal opportunity, it's 0.7%. Okay? So let's even say you're the biggest party you're ever in. You have 5 parties you're going to. Wow. I don't think in the past 10 years I've been invited to 5 parties, but whatever. Okay? Let's say that's the case. That's at 6.3%. Not a lot. Okay? Which means every day that isn't a holiday, treat it like a normal day. Who says you need treats every day? Weird. You don't need treats every day. You don't need that, right? Maybe culture says that, but do you really need it? Do we want to follow in the footsteps of culture right now where 67% of people are obese? That the ones that are dictating what's going on, the mass is doing that stuff? No, dude, no. Whenever I'm in the mass, I'm just like, I don't know if I should be here. This seems weird because average ain't for me, dog. Average is not for me. Okay. Second thing you do, move your carbs and fats around to be able to hit the targets you have and eat the foods you want. So as an example, let's say you have party in the evening, protein shake in the morning, salad with a bunch of protein for lunch, okay? Or a bunch of protein. Like I have over there that I'm eating tonight so I can afford my lunch, I have like 300 grams of chicken, which is 2/3 of a pound of chicken I'm going to eat. Awesome. I'm going to do that. So I can afford my awesome freaking food right now that I can then eat what I'm going to have later tonight when I get home after this. See that? Super sick. And then I'm in a party. I'll just eat what I want at the party. If I want pumpkin pie, I know how much I can eat because I know how much food I'm allotted per day to get me what I want at the party, but also get me what I want for life, man. You see how you can do that? Just a little bit of finagling. That's it. Okay? Another thing, too, is whatever cheat you'd like, eat half of what you would have before being health conscious. So if you're like, I would have 2 pieces of pie, I'll eat 1. I'll have a big old piece of brownie. I'll have a little bit. I'll have like half my plate of funeral potatoes. I'll do a quarter of my plate. Those simple, small things. If you're not being completely aware of all the food you're eating, you're not my program. If you're my program, you are. That's just how we do things. Okay, so don't be like, oh, it's a holiday, I'm gonna eat whatever. Don't do that. It's a terrible habit. It's gonna lead to, oh, cool, I can do it here, and I can do it every holiday. Freaking Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, my birthday, Christmas, Groundhog Day, St. Patrick's. You know what I mean? Like, it just never ends. Just say, hey, no, that's just not what I do, especially when you're trying to lose weight. Okay? Find healthier stuff. Find healthy recipes, okay, for the same stuff. So as an example, 1/12 of a Costco pie is 310 calories, okay? 1/12 of it. Now, this recipe here, ambitiouskitchen.com, best-ever-healthy-pumpkin-pie, has 9 servings. So you get a 1/9 of a pie, which is bigger than a 1/12 of a pie. And it has 80 calories less. Holy smokes. And significantly less sugar, too. Is there sugar on this? No, I cropped it out. There's 28 grams of sugar in the other one, whereas this one only has 13. So significantly less. So you can go from having pumpkin pie to pumpkin pie. You can eat more for less. See what I'm saying? So find those little things. An easy way to do that is go to, what's it called? Supercook.com. Supercook.com. Okay. You can find recipes on there. You just type in a recipe and find some stuff. There's tons of them. I literally just Googled healthy pumpkin pie recipe, and that came up. It looks delicious. So really simple stuff. It just requires doing a little bit extra, because what you do before gets you here. Your routines, you got to change to get different results. And so because you have the opportunity to change your routine, change your thoughts, change your beliefs, change your habits, you just do it. You just go, okay, this is what I did. I'm going to do something different. Right? It's actually a lot simpler than what's been made to believe, which is kind of crappy, but it is what it is. Anyways, that is it for me, my friends. Hopefully you found this valuable. If, of course, you have any questions, let me know. Last piece here before I let you go is I don't think I have a training set up for you before Black Friday. But you're going to see Black Friday stuff. I do have a Black Friday sale going on. If you're somebody that wants to get coaching, that wants to get insane results, the Black Friday deal that I have running for you is this. Okay, you pay for 9 months up front. Okay, what you're going to get is you're going to get the remainder of the year, if you're not my program, for free, and you get an additional 3 months for free. So you're getting basically, 4 months for free. So you pay for 9 months up front, get 4 months for free at this year's rate. Next year, my rates go up, going into 2023, adding whole new processes. So you're getting the best of all worlds. You're getting locked in the lower rate. You are getting 9 months or 13 months for the price of 9. And you get started early. You get started 4 weeks early on your fat loss. And I'll show you how to continue to lose weight while you're during holidays and things. So if that's you, if you're on the fence, if you're somebody who's like, I keep seeing these things, and I got to get more progress photos because I said people graduate, it's awesome. Losing weight, keeping it off forever is kind of thing that I do here. We're going to do this to you. And so you've been seeing it, you're on the fence. Now's the time to jump. Black Friday, you deserve it. Okay, so you buy 9 months up front, you get 12 months for that price, 13 months for that price. Okay, I got 4 spots open now because somebody already took one. Talked to somebody today and they're like, I'll take it. So I got 4 spots at that price, first come, first serve. So that's you. Type Black Friday down below or message me and we'll get you set up on what that looks like as far as cost and what you need. Sweet. Have a freaking great day.